Hey there, it's just Joyelle. Hope you're doing well today. Um, have you ever looked at a couple and thought, "Wow, how do they do it? How have they been together for so long? Like that's amazing." Um, my husband and I just celebrated our 30th anniversary. There are some things that I wish I would have known, um, and some things that you can't know until you live them. Um, But the most important thing to remember is we are all human, and there is no human on this earth that isn't going to do something at some point that doesn't get on your nerves. Um, you know, that's just the way that we're built. So, I would say one of the main things that we've learned over the past 30 years is um, let the little stuff go. Uh, the little oddities and quirks that someone may have that might, really bug you if you let it. Don't let it. Communication is super important. Um, if you guys are basically just living a life side by side and not together, then that's not going to be, the healthiest relationship. So, and also, I was really bad for this when I was younger. If I was upset about something and my husband would say, what's wrong? And I would say, nothing. And there was something wrong. And instead of me just saying, hey, this is what I'm upset about, this is what happened, I would say nothing and then proceed to be upset. And looking back, I'm like, why? Why did I do that? I don't know why. But yeah, if there's something that happened that upsets you, talk about it. Don't say nothing if there is something wrong. Um, and make sure that it's a two-way street. Make sure that your partner knows that you are willing to listen to anything that they might need to get off their chest. Finances. My husband and I have always had joint accounts. It's worked really well for us. Doesn't work for everybody. I understand everybody's different. But, we rarely fight. But some of the times when we have fought the most have been over money issues. There was a time when we first got married where it was real tight. So it's easy to let that take over. And at the end of the day, it's just money. Yeah, you need it to pay your bills, but it's nothing that should be causing a rift in a relationship. Um, the one thing that I've found, neither one of us would ever make a large purchase without talking about it together. Um, and it's not like we've ever set an amount, like, well, if it's more than $100, we'll talk about it. But it might not be a bad idea to do that. You know, it's just, to me, it's a respect thing. Like, we have joint finances, so, I wouldn't go and spend $500 on a, I don't know, a bag or, something like that. And he wouldn't go spend $500 on something that he wanted without us first sitting down and saying, what are your thoughts on this? So once again, it leads back to communication. You have to keep those communication pathways open. And, you know, something else that you learn after 30 years is, you know, don't go to bed angry, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. You know, I have a close family member whose husband laid down beside her one night and didn't get back up in the morning. And, you know, thank God they weren't fighting that night. But if they were, you know, you can't take that back. So if there's something that's on your mind, just, you know, say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, and talk it through. You know, it is far better to get it out in the open and talk it through than to go to bed angry and then have regrets. So, you know, that's just a couple things that came to mind today as I was thinking about the fact that I'm going to be 50. We got married when I was 19. So, you know, my husband and I have actually been together more of our lives than we haven't been, if that makes sense. So it's crazy how much things have changed, how quickly time has gone. And like, but yet when you think over it, how many experiences we've had together. And my advice to any couple starting out would be honesty, communication, and don't sweat the small stuff. It's at the end of the day, it's just that. It's small. It's petty. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things. And that's why our marriage is so much easier now than it was when we were young and hot-headed and thought things had to be our own way. So, just kind of thought about that, was thinking about my husband and our 30 years together, and thinking about if there was anything that I could share that would be helpful to anybody else. So, you know, that's it. Honesty, communication, don't sweat the small stuff, never go to bed angry, and just love. Just love each other, and everything else will fall into place. Have a great one.